What is up, everybody? It's your boy Slumpenstein. I'm coming at you guys with a new video. As you guys know, if you are subscribed to this channel, you know that we were at Anime St. Louis this last weekend. We only got to go Saturday and Sunday, but we still got to go. We still had time to experience all the festivities that were taking place in St. Charles, Missouri at the St. Charles Convention Center. It was a very good time. Like always, I mean, I feel like even at a bad anime convention, you can have a great time. I'm not saying this one is bad, but it was a great time. Very good convention. But there were a few things that I wanted to talk about, a few things that stood out. And the main thing was that compared to last year, because we did go last year, this con is quickly, in my opinion, is quickly outgrowing the venue that it's at, and that is the St. Charles Convention Center. It was already hard enough getting into panels last year, but it was even worse this year, like 2 times worse this year. Just navigating space in the tabletop rooms, the video game rooms, just space in general. It just was not much of it. And it doesn't matter what convention you're at, it's gonna be crowded, but there's a difference between being crowded and being overcrowded. And I feel like Anime St. Louis is getting to that point where it's overcrowded for the venue. And that flows over onto everything. It flows over onto the panels and how you're able to access the panels, or whether you're able to get into the panels, the tabletop rooms. Like I said before, it's crazy to go to a convention where the tabletop room is that packed, the hallways, everything. So I do think that they're gonna have to reconsider where they're doing it, but that's just my thoughts on that. It had a great atmosphere, just like in previous years. Previous year, I've only been one other time. It's a great atmosphere with great people. People were there having fun. There wasn't any conflicts that I know of. There wasn't anybody trying to start any conflicts. It was just a bunch of anime, video game, comic lovers, gathering together, having fun. People were outside dancing, and it was just a really, you feed off of that energy when you see other people enjoying themselves and communicating and just socializing. At the end of the day, if it's a social event, and you have to have people that want to socialize at social events for them to be successful. Next up is the vendor room. I give the vendor room like an 8 out of 10. It was an above average vendor room. The thing that I will say about it is that the variety wasn't there. And I don't know how much control, probably not much control of the convention, but there wasn't much variety when it comes to that. There were some pretty cool vendors though, but the variety wasn't there, and use of space maybe. But all in all, it was still a very good vendor room. Don't get me wrong, it was a good vendor room. Next thing was the rave. I have said this before, that Anime St. Louis is one of my favorite dance parties, raves, whatever you want to call them. It's just something about it. The people are a lot more hype, a lot, getting up. The songs are better, the DJs are better, so I always love the raves at Anime St. Louis, and there's always packed out, especially now, like I said, going back to the first thing, about it being overcrowded. But yeah, it was a packed house. It was a lot of fun. Good music, good DJs. It was a lot of fun. Next up is the game room. I thought the game room was okay. It could have been better. It surprised me to see that there wasn't any retro games. All games were of this video game era, excuse me. And if you don't know what that means, that's like Switch, Xbox One, PS4, and PC. There isn't anything wrong with that, but some people would have a problem with that. I know I usually see, most of the time they'll have like an NES Classic out or a Super Nintendo Classic or something out there, so that the people that want to play those older games can play them. But there was nothing like that there. You know, in the variety behind it, there was a lot of repeats of games, but we still had fun playing on like they had Mortal Kombat 11 arcade cabinets, and it was cool to see some of these cabinets. But I will say that the variety, not seeing any retro or any other type games was a little bit disappointing. The next thing was the escape rooms. The escape rooms was a lot of fun. That was probably the highlight of the weekend for us. We took part in both of the escape rooms that were there. We sucked, but it was still a lot of fun. We didn't complete either one of them, but like I said, we still had a blast. And those, manageable prices. The smaller one was $5. Well, they were both about the same size, actually. One was $5 and the other one was $10, and I say that it was worth it, and if you don't have enough people, then there's people that you can saddle up with and try to complete the escape room. And it was actually pretty fun. I had never done one, but it was really fun. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about, they had the VR stands there, or VR room there. And I want to say that was there last year. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. But that's also really cool. That was right next door to the escape room. And that's a really cool addition for people that like to do VR and stuff like that. And it was free. They had windows and windows free. And, like I said, this was one of my complaints about NakaCon. There wasn't as much innovation or new things. And I feel like, Anime St. Louis brings new things to the table. Now, if I'm going overall, like I said, I really like Anime St. Louis a lot. Anime St. Louis is a very good con. I would rate, last year I would say Anime St. Louis was better than NakaCon, but this year I'd say, they're kind of neck and neck, but NakaCon probably edges it out just a little bit for the reasons that I said. I still recommend that you go to it. Like I said, very solid convention, especially if this is your first convention. This would be a great one to start off at. I don't know if there's a possibility that they move in the future. I don't know what else is in St. Louis if they can move to something else or not, or maybe it's just, maybe there is enough space and it just wasn't managed properly, who knows? But like I said, I still give this convention a thumbs up, and just like last year, I recommend that you guys check it out. There are, there's a lot of fun to be had. There were a lot of great panel topics, but I wasn't able to get into a lot of them. I will say the anime Name That Tune. It was a lot of anime that I'd never heard of, but I suspected that, a lot of the oddball animes, but it was still a fun panel. I'm sure that all the panels were fun just like that one, but I just wasn't able to get into them because, like I said, unless I'm waiting an hour to get into the panel, I wasn't, or 2 hours. It was probably more than that because I don't mind waiting for a panel, but, the lines were a little bit overbearing. Like I said, I recommend it. It was a good convention. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below whether you were at Anime St. Louis. Do you think that you want to go to Anime St. Louis? If not, tell me why. Why not? And tell me what conventions you guys have lined up for the rest of the year. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.